Hello and welcome back to the Final Flight podcast. We're here once again for another weekend preview. The boys are back. Obviously, we had some big winners last weekend, which is pretty decent. We were obviously supposed to be joined by Racing Gav tonight, but unfortunately, as you've probably seen on Twitter, he's had some unfortunate car trouble. So fingers crossed he gets home safe and he gets it sorted ASAP. And we'll definitely look at getting him on again at some point. So enough about that. Let's crack on, boys. We're looking forward to another weekend. Rich, I'll come to you, mate. Cheltenham's back. Donny's got some good races. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, there's some good racing. When Cheltenham's on, there's always some good horses that turn out. So, I'm looking forward to get stuck in.
What about you then, Joe? You're looking forward to it, mate? It's a big weekend. It's pretty decent. Some pretty decent racing.
Yeah, defo, mate. And I think by looking at the forecast and stuff, the ground's dried out, so we shouldn't be getting as obscure results as last weekend and some, hurdles taken out and fences taken out. So fingers crossed, a good weekend of racing, mate.
Yeah, obviously last weekend were pretty tough, but we did manage to find some good winners. But hopefully the weather's changed a little bit now and we get some decent ground. It's not too much of a bog for the horses, and hopefully we'll get some nice winners. Obviously the Cheltenham shows have been going again really well. We had Craig Nichol on last week. He was a great guest, great bit of insight. We've had some really good guests on so far. I'm going to keep trying to get them jockeys on, keep bashing the door down, and luckily they keep coming our way. And we've got another very good guest coming on the Monday night show again. So you're going to want to listen to that, and we've got some horses to talk about with him as well. So looking forward to that. Right, boys, we're going to dive straight into it. We've got a couple of races tomorrow, a few races tomorrow to look at, and then we'll move on to Saturday, and then we'll drop back and go through anything else that we may be fancy for the weekend, and hopefully we'll find some good winners once again. So, boys, without further ado, we're going to go to the first race at Cheltenham tomorrow, the 12:05. And my Cheltenham Mares Novice Hurdle pick, the winner of the Mares Novice Hurdles in here, Dysart Enos, is in as 7-4 favourite. Beat the Bat, an ice horse for Harry Fry. Meatloaf's in here for Nichols. Spirits Bay, Kintail, and a few others that probably don't need mentioning. I'm going to come to you first. Rich, is she good enough to win this against the Geldings?
We'll find out, won't we? She gets the weight off the field. She looked to have the pace last time to potentially trouble some of these. It's going to be a fascinating race to see if she can dish it to the boys. The one I looked at was Beat the Bat. I think the form was quite strong. Second to, is it Misakio? That I know you quite like. Yeah. Third, Holy Jolie Smoke was back in third, who is a horse that we tipped up and quite like as well. He won at Ascot next time out, beating Welcome to Cartriez by a head.
I'll tell you what, it started early with the...
Welcome to Cartriez.
I said, welcome to Catrice.
Some shocking
welcome to Cars and Trees.
But yeah, that was a newcomer for Nichols, and I think they probably quite fancy that home. So I think the form's quite good. I think he's the one that Dysart Enos has got to beat. But like you say, she gets the weight. She's got the pace. We'll see how good she really is.
Yeah, I've always sort of said I'm a big fan of her. I think the form from her last season in bumpers was pretty good. She obviously beat the likes of Queen's Gamble when she were fancied for the champion bumper. She won the Grade 2 Aintree bumper, and you've had loads of winners out of that. I sort of went back through it, and you've had about 6 or 7 winners come out of that already. It's obviously a pretty hot bumper, and don't get me wrong, Hurdle's debut at Huntington, obviously on decent ground. Yes, she probably did throw in a couple of slow jumps, but I just think it's because they weren't going fast enough. I think that sort of when you're so much better than other horses, I think it can make you look like you maybe throwing a few dodgy jumps in. But once she sort of picked up, and especially once she jumped, she winged the last and she kicked on, and she just the speed that she took off, I thought were quite taken. And I think obviously, like you said there, Joe, the weather's perked up a little bit, so it does dry up a little bit. I know it's currently soft, but I can't see it being any worse than that. And I think I'd definitely be sticking with it. I think, like you say, getting the weight allowance from the boys. Like I think Rich said, Beat the Bat's obviously a good horse, some decent form. Kintail, beat a horse called Clondorel, come out and won next time out, albeit in a lower level. And Spirit Spill obviously got beaten by South of the Border, which was another horse that I put up last week. But, he's one I won't give up on. That was a bit of a bog at Sandown, as we well know. But I just think for me, personally, I think I'd be all over Dinah Aesop for this. I think she'll beat these, get in the weight, and that she'll kick on for the Mares Novice. But then again, even if she does get beat, as long as she runs well and runs them close, I'd still be thinking that's a good run against the boys. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, 100%. I sort of agree with you on the way you said about Dysart Enos there. I think the reason I can't have her is because I feel like it'd still be a good run from her if she finished in the top 3 against the boys. I think it's tough, obviously, second start over hurdles. She looked a bit novice-y, jumping, like you say. She might have gone slow, but with it being a first sort of run, you have no evidence of her. She's clearly got speed and she's clearly got an engine. But it will be tough against these. I do like Beat the Bat, obviously beat Masaccio, Holy Joe Smokes in behind. I know Rich said that. But if you look at the Ascot form in November, I know you had Welcome to Cartrees in behind. It was pretty well thought of, but you've got Ideal de Bordes, who was third, 15 length, the 2 pulled away. That horse was beaten on debut by Kintail by less than 2 lengths. So I know, obviously, it's ifs and buts and you can't take form exactly like that. But 15 lengths behind, Beat the Bat second time out and 2 lengths behind Kintail. Beat the Bat for me looks not miles ahead of these, but looks entitled to beat these, if you get what I mean. Clearly has the best hurdles form. I don't think Back Down and Trip will hinder. Both runs over 2 mile, 3.5, but Back Down to 2 mile, one over 2 mile at Chepstow National Flat. So I have no problem with that. I'm quite confident, to be honest.
No, that's fair points. I think, like I say, it's going to be a very good race. This very informative going forward for the novices on the UK side anyway. And I think whoever wins this, if they win it with authority, I think that is obviously a very, very good horse. So fingers crossed they go well. And if we can have 2 against 1 already in the first race, hopefully I've got you both beat. Brilliant. So I'll just drop into the comments because I think we've had a couple of comments. Yeah. John's been on already, lads. And he's put up, what about Apple away now, boys, especially James? Beat 2 Grade 2 trees winners by over 31 lengths and slowing down and nearly at a standstill. Did you see how much she had in the tank? And he put, very soft or heavy ground at Cheltenham and stay away Fable. Get dished out again to him while Apples keeps going and going. I'll go first then. What I will say is, John, I think, don't get me wrong, she was impressive over 3 miles. I'd give you that. But I just feel like the race was just... I'd question that form. I get the Grade 2 winners and all that, but it just seemed... They were off it very early on, and who was it turning in? Who was the one that's second? I can't remember his name now.
Making Your Mind Up.
Making Your Mind Up. Yeah, I don't know what to make of him personally. Obviously she's definitely got an engine. She jumped really well. I will say that, definitely. But I'd just like to see her in a better race against the boys over 3 mile. I don't think she's a Cheltenham winner personally. I think if you're talking about staying power, I think Stay Away Faze will just go and go and go. And I think in the end, if they were to come against each other at Cheltenham, soft or heavy ground, I think he would win. So I think he's a better horse personally. But I'll let you guys chirp. If any of you want to chirp in, what are your thoughts on the way? And do you think she'll even go to the Browns and take on the boys? What do you think?
No, I don't know. Obviously, you couldn't have been disheartened by her chasing debut at Haydock, and then it was impressive. But you look through Making Your Mind Up's form. Obviously, got battered on heavy ground, but before that, good to soft, good to soft, good to soft. Soft at Kempton when second. Good to soft, good to soft, soft, good to soft, and a 3 mile good point to point. So there's a common theme there. Every sort of going has good in it. This was heavy. It's a massive difference. Don't get me wrong, she was impressive, but I'm a bit like you, James. We Stay Away Fair, we've already seen him beat Giovinco. The form backs up from last year, jumping really well. We know where we're at with that horse. I just feel like Apple Away, we don't really yet know where we're at. I mean, she could come out, she could be unbelievable, but at the minute, I just can't see it.
What about you, Rich? What are your thoughts on her?
Yeah, I mean, I think she needs certain conditions, but I just don't think she goes to Cheltenham. I think they'll skip Cheltenham and go to Aintree with her in the spring, personally. I can't imagine, like you say, I don't think she'll go to the Browns. And if she doesn't go to the Browns, I'm not 100% sure where she'll go. They'll not drop her back to the Mares. I think that's a too short a trip for her. Yeah, I mean, it was good performance, but yeah, I think she goes to Aintree rather than Cheltenham, personally.
Tell you what, I did like though. I don't know if you've seen the video where the syndicate are all shouting from the stand when she jumps the last. Have you seen it or not?
No.
You all you can hear is the commentary, and then you just hear yeah, and there's hardly anyone there. It's chucking it down, but it's all the Apple Away fans in the and syndicate in the stands.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. She's a great mare. She's a great horse to be part of if you're part of the syndicate and things like that. And she will definitely win races. I'm a little bit like you, Rich. I'm wondering if she'll even go to Cheltenham. Will she let the boys take each other on in a Brown Advisories type race and then maybe try and do them over at Aintree?
I mean, on ratings, she was entitled to beat those, to be fair. I mean,
I think it was just the race that was decisive.
Like I say, it's the way she won. I'd question the other two. Just seem to go out like lights quite early on. Do you know what I mean?
The Fergal horse, as Al Philippe, I'm sure they're trying to get that handicap down, Mark. I think he's going to bolt up in handicap further on down the line, so I can put a line through that and making your mind up. Is he really going to be challenging the top table? I doubt it.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see where she goes next. We'll see if she takes on the boys, or if they just bottle it all season and try and pick up an Aintree win against Tidal. He's here, John. He's here. Here we go. Oh, here we go again. Look, here we go again. She's already beaten Stay Away Fair. Not sure why you're all going about him. Maximilian has beaten him twice. Because Stay Away Fair is the best staying chaser in the UK, and Aintree form is garbage, John. Come on. You're beating horses that have been to Cheltenham. If she don't go to Cheltenham, bottle job, Apple. Bottle Away, we'll call
her. Hopefully they'll take each other on, and that'll be...
Hurdles is different. Hers is chasing, staying chasing. I think Stay Away Fair beats her all day long. Question is, will she go to Cheltenham and take him on? Do you think she'll take him on at Cheltenham, John? Let us know in the comments, mate. But it is a good debate. She's obviously a good horse. You know, I'm not saying she's not a good horse. She's obviously a very good horse, but I don't think she'll take on the challenge of Stay Away Fair. She'll beat him, no problem. Well, we'll see, John, won't we? We'll see, John. I'll have a pint on it with you. If she beats him, I'll get you a pint. Right, let's move on then. So I kind of cut it down a little bit because obviously we're supposed to have Racing Gav on, but what we'll do is we'll skip. We got the 3:35 at Cheltenham, the handicap hurdle. But then when we come to the end, we talk about anything else. We'll talk about a few of the other horses that are running tomorrow because obviously there's some nice horses out. But the 3:35 was the other one we put in here for because obviously the favourites, a favourite of ours, White Rhino, back for the Greenall Guerrero Yard. They've obviously had some good winners lately. And if you haven't already seen our stable visit, make sure you go watch that. It's a good video. One in here I can't pronounce. Anyone want to pronounce that second horse?
Yenyam.
Yenyam is in its second favourite. Bold Endeavour, Captain Morg's Tiger Jet, a horse that's one of my absolute nemesis, but I'll talk about him in a minute. I'll come to you, Joe, mate. Who have we gone for in this? Is it just a case of we're all going to go for White Rhino? Weekend?
I mean, you can't not, can you? I was there when he won at Carlisle. The same day as making headway. Very impressive there. Won at a canter, grabbed the rail. Toby with a brilliant ride, and it was a complete steering job. And then I thought at Cheltenham, got up the hill very well. Was obviously just beaten by a very, very, very well handicapped David Pipe runner, and you could say White Rhino. I mean, he was short of room and he didn't get the perfect run through, and he come there with a challenge. The one thing I liked, he didn't sort of give up. He still galloped to the line. He was only beat at 3 1/4 lengths. American Sniper and the team straight away after the race were called in, asking where the improvement come from. I feel like White Rhino's still way off, that handicap limit, the mark. they were 5 lengths off the their horses in behind, so they pulled away slightly because it was a bunched up field after that, really. So yeah, I'm very happy. I think the conditions I think they're drying up now, but for me, the softer they are, the better anyway. He's an absolute beast of a horse. So fingers crossed we get to see the team in the winners' enclosure tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, lives in the chat. Good evening, Liv. She's put up the Rhino. I'm with you there. I mean, I'm going to be on White Rhino as well. I think soft ground or decent ground is obviously one on plenty. I mean, you just love what they've done with this horse. I mean, I was just looking through the form, and obviously he had a couple of 3 runs, 28 to 1, 100 to 1, 250 to 1. He got a marker 74, and they must have been dancing down the street at that. And he's won his next 3 on good ground, good to soft. And he's come out this season and won on heavy. So I think there's obviously a hell of a lot more improvement to come from this horse. I think and he's still improving. And like you say, the Cheltenham run against American Sniper, I mean, was bumped by a couple in behind him, fighting it out third, fourth. I think it was the last one tip. So that maybe just put him off a little bit, and then he had to try and sneak up the inside. So I'd say there's a little bit more left in the tank. He's only gone up £5 for that. Toby was on obviously last time claiming 3, so he's kind of gone up £8. But I think there's obviously Henry Brooks back on. He was on the Cheltenham show a couple of weeks ago. I think he'll be fancying this guy to go in again. And I couldn't really make a case for much of the rest, really. You've got Bold Endeavour off top weight, even though Jockey's taking 5 off. The only other one, but I mean, I've backed this horse. I backed this horse twice now, so I'll give him a little bit of a mention. Hermino A, whatever you want to call him, is obviously back over hurdles after jumping like an absolute fridge the last 2 times. I mean, like if you ever want to watch a horse not be able to jump, go back and watch his last race. He pulled up, it was shocking, but he's back over hurdles, so he'd maybe one that's lurking at a big price, around the 12 to 1. He's obviously an each way, a little each way if you wanted to have one of them, but I think my main selection would definitely be White Rhino with a tiny each way on Hermino, just in case he managed to win, and I could at least say I backed him. What about you, Rich?
Yeah, White Rhino. I mean, you've mentioned all the points they had, so I'll not go into too much detail, but yeah, he's up in chip to 2 miles. Is it 3 miles this time?
3
so
miles.
That's the only unknown for me. Will he stay? But he seemed to stay to the line last time out when I was there at Cheltenham over. What was it 2 miles 4, 2 miles 5? I think it was. So yeah, I think he looks quite good.
I'd be quite confident he'd get the 3 mile. To be honest,
yeah, there's no way I don't think he would. I don't think there's no reason why he wouldn't. I mean, when the day I was at Carlisle, I heard, certain people were saying he wants a muddy 3 miles straight away. He just gallops and gallops and gallops, doesn't he? So I don't think that's a problem at all.
Yeah, and Livy was in the chat. She's obviously goes to the yard quite a lot. She's part of the G&G team. She's put, I can't imagine Rhino not winning, to be honest. Will thrive in the ground. Well, there you go. You've heard it here first. Sounds like a bit of a podcast nap for the weekend. But yeah, fingers crossed White Rhino will do the business. Right then, lads, so we're going to move on to Saturday, then we'll circle back and mention a few nice horses. But the 150, the handicap chase, this is a tasty race, is this. You've got Thunder Rock in his favourite currently. Monmoral, So Scottish, Il Radoto, Fakir Dudery off top weight, Fugitive, and sort of 12 to 1 bigger the rest. I'll come to you then, Rich, mate. Have you dissected this handicap for the viewers?
I've tried. And I've failed. I'll just mention Monreal to start with. It's quite interesting that Harry Cobden picks him over Il Radoto. He was third in the Paddy Power. I thought it was quite a good run behind Stage Star. He was last seen over hurdles, quite interestingly, in Aintree last time out. But as a chase, he was rated 148 and second behind John Bonn and the Real Wacker. So you could say that's probably some of the strongest form in the field. The one I've kind of landed on, though, is the favourite, Thunder Rock. I think that's quite a good form line. Winner last time out at Carlisle, beating Marlon Mission, who's finished second in the Coral Gold Cup. Is it That's All Right, Gino? I think won that. Thunder Rock was also second to That's All Right, Gino in air in a grade 2 over 2 miles 4 as well last season. So I think that's quite a good, strong form line to stay on the right side of. So he's the one for me.
No, fair enough. What about you, Joe? Are you heading towards Thunder Rock, or have you got an idea at something a bigger price, maybe?
Do you know what? It's as if Rich has got my notes. I haven't. I've gone with Monmiral only for the price, but when the real Wacker beat Monmiral, Thunder Rock was ahead in behind. And I feel like these two are very, very closely matched, and it is pretty telling. The Cobdens jumped on board over Il Ridoto because Il Ridoto doesn't have bad form at all over the chasing obstacles. But for me, this horse does run pretty well fresh. I mean, the Warwick run against John Bon, 6 lengths in behind, doesn't look too bad now, really. And then you go the time before, was beaten in the fight in fifth, 15 lengths. I mean, he's been a horse who's raced in all the grade ones against all the top horses. I mean, you're looking there, the money's slightly coming. I think if he's on Song Monmiral, he's sort of not waited to win, but he's got a very good chance in the weights anyway. One I give a small mention to is Ferrero Bamboo. Ran some very good races this season. Sort of an unlucky horse, if you must say. We all remember Can Do Kid getting up the hill pretty nicely, and then the Grand Sefton handicap chase with Jaskiel winning. Percussion in front, who finished third in the Beecher chase. I don't know if this is a horse who's well handicapped, but one who always runs well. And at 12-1, I might play a place bet on that one.
No, some very good points there. That's some good picks. Jack's just jumped on the comments. He's put Thunder Rock GSI. Yeah, I think Thunder Rock's definitely got a good chance. I wouldn't put anyone off backing him. Sean Bowen's obviously on, like you say, the form there with Mile of Mission's decent. I think the other couple I'd sort of had a look at is So Scottish for Emmett Mullins was one I looked at. Mark Walsh obviously coming over for the ride. He's had a pipe opener at Goran on heavy ground. So it makes you wonder. I mean, Emmett Mullins is getting so good at sort of targeting these big handicap races, and it just makes you wonder if he's coming in with a really good chance. He's off £6 lower than when he run at the Cheltenham Festival in the plate. He ran a decent race that day. Went off favourite, so he's obviously got a big run in him. So I'd be tempted to maybe have a little go against the favourite with him. He's also getting £5 off Thunder Rock. So he could bring a big race. And then the only other one I'm going to go for is, it's a small. I mean, I like to have a couple of each way pokes at these sort of races, but I think So Scottish should probably be the main one to take Thunder Rock on with. But the other one I looked at was a horse called Grandeur Dame or Grandeur Dame or Dam. Tom Bellamy's ride for Alan King, and this horse, he just could run at a decent price. I mean, he won a couple of races last season before sort of struggling off higher marks. But if you go back and watch his last run, he's come back this season off the break at Wetherby and run really well, albeit on heavy ground. So if it stays sort of soft, it'll be fine for him. And his battered horses, 127, 126 rated horses. The fourth was way back beaten, was 138. So you could question the form if they run to form, but I just thought he won it really well and really easy. So it just makes you wonder, has he come back a little bit of a different horse since the summer? And obviously the trip and ground are no issue. I mean, he's up £8, but he's off. I think he was £1 out the handicap, so he comes in off 10 stone 2, so he gets a lot of weight from most of these. And he's at a big price. He's one I'd play. I mean, I'd talk about. I'll probably have a couple of quid each way on him, but my main selection would probably be. I'll chance So Scottish for Emmett Mullins.
Can I just say one thing?
Go on.
Oh, sorry, go on, mate. I thought you'd finish.
I was going to say, obviously, he brought Thingy over and beat me on, chuffing out on Crambo, so he's probably going to do me again. So he did me over on Crambo A-Doc, so now I've put him up as a selection. He probably finishes out the back of the telly, but that'll be my two pokes at this race, lads.
Gav and Liv both mentioned Fugitive.
Liv likes Fugitive. What she put? I agree. Can't really see why he's 8-1. I can imagine Connections fancy him as they're particularly about where they run him and absolutely love Cheltenham. It's very true.
Well,
Go on, Joe.
Sorry to interrupt. I did make a little note of this horse. Finished 2 lengths behind Seddon, who went back over to Ireland and won 3 races on the bounce. So was obviously pretty well handicapped. Then went to Aintree after against Pictorian Fakadoodery and horses like that. And sometimes, well, we all know horses don't come out of Cheltenham very well and go to Aintree. And then he was very keen the last day behind stage start, not long till May. And I sort of agree with Gav, maybe if that's kicked the freshness out of him, he could be a player. But yeah, these handicaps at Cheltenham, they're so competitive, aren't they? I mean, you must get like 5 horses that turn up which you really fancied. Sometimes you turn up to handicaps and say if there's 6 runners, five owners are thinking, oh, we just want the handicap mark to drop here, where I don't think this is the case.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'll just put Gav's comment up there. Cheers for commenting, Gav. Oh, it's Racing Gav. Look, he's at least made it on somehow. Thunder Rock looks a solid favourite. Fugitive sneaking under the radar, though, 8-1. It is a pretty big price the more you look at it. It ran very keen last time. And if that's knocked out the fresh time, he's got a massive chance. Certainly is, Gav. Up, you're getting on all right with the card, pal. And I'll put up Liv's last comment here. I was with the owners at Aintree, and he was just tired from a long season. It looked again. I think Cheltenham just took it out of him. Potentially. Yeah. Like Joe says there, the handicaps are really tough to get the winner of half of the time. You don't know
what. One of your favourite horses, James, at Aintree that time.
What's that? Sorry, Rich. He's beat who?
He beat Hitman in that race.
Saying all right. You won't let it go, will you? Hitman, right, is going to come out somewhere and win a big pot. I am telling you now. I am not giving up on Hitman. If you can't give up on him, trust me, you can't give up on him. Right, anyway, we'll move on. A belting race here then. The 235, another handicap. Obviously, a lot of handicaps this weekend and a lot of very good horses out. So I'll go through the field here. So it's the handicap chase, 3 mile, 2 furlongs, 225 at Cheltenham. Broadway Boy is obviously in at favourite. Sam Twiston Davis takes over the ride from Tom Bellamy last time. 300 through 5. Cobden's ride, City Chief back in here for Nicky Henderson. Melina Girl, Cromwell, Irish Raider, Protectorate. Obviously, we had Harry Skelton on a couple of weeks ago. He did mention that we'd probably be coming to this race. And obviously, it's happened. So that's obviously been the plan off top weight. Easy as that. Elvis Mail and a few others at bigger. Rapper and back on the lash. Do not click that button. That would have been an accident. Nearly took me out then. Right then, I'll come to you, Joe. Obviously, Harry Skelton said Protectorate's probably going to go here on the show. He's here. He's declared. He's off top weight. Is he going to win, or is there something else that's going to beat him?
For me, in a handicap, he's carrying top weight. Now, I remember Harry saying he's sort of his own worst enemy at times. It's probably one you might want to bet on in play if you can. See, we seen him in Haydock and he was keen, and then he dropped out and he didn't jump with fluency. And Harry said he could sort of sense that after the first half of the race, it wasn't his day, and he was just trying to nurse him round and fill him up. And it didn't happen for him that day. And off 12 stone against arguably some well-handicapped horses, I don't think he'll get away with that again. The one I do like, he done us last time, but is Broadway Boy. Obviously, Tom Bellamy is not on this time, but the 2.5 lengths behind Florin Porter doesn't look too bad. Obviously, Florin Porter didn't really back that up last time, but I mean, I was at Haydock that day and he hung left massively, and they said after the race they were never going to go right-handed with him again. But we've all been caught who wasn't far behind, was 20 lengths behind him at Cheltenham on soft ground with Tom Bellamy on. I think Sam Twiston Davies maybe, done himself in going on Good Risk It All. The money came in late for Broadway Boy as well, which spoke. And I think he's still a well-handicapped horse. And I think he can go on to better things here. Sam Twiston Davies is back on. I think he's probably better than all these, ahead of maybe a handicap plot. I think he's just too good for them.
That's fair enough. I mean, before we move on to you, Rich, I'm just going to put Jack's Twitter up here. But how does Hitman make it onto the pod every week? I agree, though, James. He will sneak in a big one for sure. It will, Hitman's one of them where you think, oh, yeah, he's gone. Not a great one, horse, blah, blah,
James
blah.
tipped him up for the Gold Cup.
It's because every horse has beaten him. That's why he's on every week. The form ties in with every horse that we're covering.
That day that Hitman wins a big pot will be the day of reckoning, I'm telling you now. Right, go on then, Rich. Obviously, Skelton on our show said that he sort of protects when horses just needs to be going flat out all the time to sort of settle, doesn't he? So, I mean, This is obviously 3 mile, 2 furlong. I mean, what are your thoughts on it, pal?
Yeah, that's my only concern. You know, he's carries top weight, and Skelton says that he has to be going full speed to settle. That would be a worry, I think. 12 stone over 3 miles, 2 would put me off. But you mean he's a Grade 1 winner. He's fifth in a Gold Cup last season. You know, he probably does bring the best form, but the weight and the way he runs would kind of put me off. I just think Broadway Boy is the one to be on. I mean, before he got declared, he was 6-1. And I thought that was an each way price to nothing, to be fair. I think he's 7-2 favourite now. But yeah, I was there when he won at Cheltenham. He beat them by 20 lengths, and that was over 3 miles in a listed contest. Second to Flooring Porter, giving him £5. I think he might run in the Brown Advisory at Cheltenham. I had a quick look. He's only £7 off the real whacker that won it last year. And I think if he continues to progress the way he is, I don't think he'll be far away. I know you like Stay Away Faye, but I just think the way this guy won last time out at Cheltenham was very impressive. And I think he'll win it. I think he's off 9 stone 10 as well, thanks to Protectorate. I think that's it's a nice weight to be carrying. And I think he's a good bet.
No, that's fair enough, mate. I mean, like I say, look at the real whacker. He sort of won a couple of handicaps at Cheltenham and then progressed on to be the Browns winner. I beat Jerry and that. But, yeah, I mean, he's one of them that could just keep improving. I mean, I've got Gav's comment here. I'll stick it up. He's put, home safe now, lads. Thanks. Oh, thanks, lads. Broadway Boy wins for me. I'm on at 50s for the Brown Advisor. I think he's a proper horse. 25 generally at William Hill. Might get the net. William Hill might get a nice special to win Saturday and the BHA. Well, I'm glad you're home safe, Gav. If you get set up and if you want to jump on towards the end, you're more than welcome. But like I say, glad to have you home, and hopefully the car's not too bad. Yeah, fingers crossed. So yeah, Broadway Boy. I mean, he won really well last time out, didn't he? Obviously, took him on from the front and put him away quite easily. He's definitely the worthy favourite, and I think he's going to be very tough to beat. But I just thought I'd look at something else and maybe try and get him beat if I could. But I mean, looking at the prices now compared to this afternoon when I had a little bit of a look, I mean, everything's pretty much shorter. You had pretty much the field at each way prices, but everything's kind of got a lot shorter now. So the fact that Broadway Boy's into 72, I'll probably have to leave that now. But the one I landed on, just for a little each way poke, was City Chief. I'm tempted to just going to give him a little bit of another go. But obviously, he come fourth last time out over at Cheltenham, but he was carrying 12 stone that day, and it was over a little bit further now. He was behind Melina Girl. Now he's £7 better off with Melina Girl, even though that horse is now, the Grand Cromwell's now got the claimer on, but he's still £7 better off. And obviously this race is probably going to be a little bit tougher, but he's off 10 stone 4, and I just thought, when you get the likes of Protectorate in here, keeping the weights down for everything else, it kind of helps them. So I would just maybe chance him each way for Nico and Hendo. Obviously carried a lot less weight than last time, getting weight off the field, slightly backing trip, won't mind the ground, that sort of thing. I'd be worried about backing Protectorate as well. I think he'll find it tough, to be honest. But yeah, I was going to have a little each way on City Chief, and they said shit. No. And then I said City Girl, and I said Shitty Girl. Chuffing hell, we're having a right. I've got my glass of wine, you see, so I'm slurring my words. I do apologise. Not that I drink much on a Thursday night, but I'm making me send out to be a right alcoholic. I'm going to shut up now. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next race, which is a good race with a horse that I'm very much looking forward to. The 3 o'clock, the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, a Grade 2, and a horse is coming into here that if you go back and watch the Cheltenham Anti-Post Countdown show for of Monday, you'll see a lot of reasons why I like this horse in here. But Shanna Bob obviously got declared. I've put him up for the Albert Bartlett. I think he's tailor-made for it. I think he's a proper brute of a horse, proper big staying, probably a chasing type next season, but he just looks like the sort of horse that wants a big, strong, galloping, staying test, and he's going to now get it. Obviously, that was over 2 mile 4 at Plumpton. Sharp track. He was 2-9 on. He was entitled to win. It was a little bit workmanlike, but he did all his best work at the end. I just think he's going to come on massively for that run. And I just think he's tailor-made for these sort of races, and the fact that he's now going 3 mile at Cheltenham, when I wasn't sure if they were going to go there and do that too soon. But I think the Albert Bartlett's the target. So I am all in on Shanna Bob 2-1. That'll do me. I'll go to you, Joe. How'd you get him beat, or are you with him?
No, I'm with him, mate. I wouldn't say it's a poor race, but I just feel like Shanna Bob's probably the only superstar in this for the English. Just you go through, destroy the evidence, albeit won 3 races but beaten twice. You can sort of gauge where some of them are at. Do you know what I mean? Where this Shanna Bob, there's the sort of world's at his feet still. Probably not. Not one I'll be having a bet on, but one I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on. I mean, when you scroll through the betting, I think there's only one horse, bar Shanna Bob, who hasn't been beaten this season. There is, and that's Kerry Hill, who's 10-1 for Ruth Jefferson. I mean, I think Shanna Bob, if he's anything what they believe, I think he should be, well, not just beating these, staying on and hammering these, putting them to the sword.
Yeah, that's what I think he'll do. What about you, Rich? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a grade 2 on paper, but it doesn't look the strongest grade 2. So I do think he should win.
Oh.
If he's got any hope of an Albert Bartlett, which I hope he does, he should put these away. But I think we're going to see the best of him at 3 mile at Cheltenham. Personally, I think he'll kick on. Hopefully, go on.
Yeah, for me, it's about the favourite. If, like you say, if he's got any sort of chance in the Albert Bartlett, he's got to be winning this. There's not a lot to go by, so I've kind of taken the idea that potentially he could be quite good, but just a couple to put it out there. Like the Destroy the Evans will definitely stay. He'll get the distance. He won over 3 mile plus last time out. He's the one that is probably the main danger because he'll get the distance. David Bass might just try and make it some sort of test for them. The skeleton horse, I think, is quite interesting as well. Is it Illico di Cotti? We'll go with that.
Take your word for that.
Yeah, I mean, he was second by a short head last time out, but he was an odds-on favourite. He was well fancied. And as we know, the skeleton horses have been taking a ride to get sort of right. So I think he could be quite dangerous coming in there. Again, he sets up in trip like the favourite. But he is an each way sort of price. But yeah, not really a betting race, but I'll be interested to see how the favourite gets on. Like you say, just for your anti-post selection.
Come on, Shanna Bob. To be fair, I wasn't expecting him to be over 3 mile this soon, so I'm quite happy I managed to get him on the into the Cheltenham team before he run. Because if I'd have waited another week like I might have done, then I could have had a bit of egg on my face. But fingers crossed he goes and wins well. He should win well, really, if he's got any sort of festival aspirations. But I think he will win, albeit only sort of 2-1. It's not a bad price. But yeah, I'll stick with him. Right then, lads, so we're going to move on to the last race at Cheltenham, then we'll do a couple of races at Doncaster, and then we'll head back and just chat about a couple of horses. I've made a note of them all, and we'll just get his thoughts on them. Quick thoughts, but 335 is the Mares Handicap Hurdle. Nice race, this. Bonte's in his favourite. She got declared. Theatre Glory, another nice one for Henderson. Susan Conquillicott. I'll go with that. Winter the Lightning for the Greenall team, and a few others at 10-1 bigger the rest. Obviously, Winter the Lightning is in chuffing hell. Winter the Lightning is in here for Greenall Guerrero. I'll come to you first, Rich, if I can, mate. Are you tempted by him? Oh, sorry, tempted by her?
Yes. I mean, she was impressive last time out at Wetherby, winning by 9 lengths on soft heavy going off 120, I think it was. I mean, she's been raised quite a bit for that. But she was a good third at the course back in April, so she's got some course on over the distance. I'm not too worried about that. I think she's a good each way sort of shout. I've just been looking at, you've got Theatre Glory in here who ran in the Mares Hurdle against Honeysuckle, finishing 6th. So that's potentially the strongest form in here. I mean, she's carrying top weight of 12 stone, so I potentially would stay away from her. But like you say, Botany is the favourite. I think she's a good mare. But yeah, I'm willing to take an each way play on the Winter the Lightning, I think.
That's fair enough. I mean, she was the second one I was looking at, but The main one I've gone, I think it's going to have to be Skelton's. I think Nurse Susan, obviously, again, I know I keep saying, but we had him on the show the other week and he spoke about her. So I've dived into her form a little bit and I just thought it looks like the sort of race she could win. She obviously, she was only fourth, beating 4 lengths in the Mares Novice the year before last, the one that Love Envoy won. And she obviously was off a while. She'd obviously got an issue for whatever reason, but she's come back this season. She went chasing. And obviously just didn't work out at all. What's that?
I was coughed.
Oh, okay. So she obviously went chasing, didn't work out. She didn't seem to go a yard. Skelton said himself that it just didn't work out. It's sort of a bit of a disaster and probably expected to go back hurdling. She comes back hurdling now and she's in here. She's off 10 stone 10. Skelton's on her and I just think she's got a great chance, to be honest. She's obviously had the run. It'll blow cobwebs off her. She's back over hurdle. She's got good back form, obviously, from the previous year behind Love Envoy. 4 lengths behind Love Envoy, could probably say a strong form, even though it was sort of 2 years ago. But I just think, again, at 6-1, the each-way price isn't a bad shout. So I'm going to go for her. And I would have a tentative little bet on Win to the Lightning. Like you said there, Rich, I mean, she's £12 up for that race at Weatherby, but she absolutely demolished them. She battered them. Henry Bucks on. And she could be a little bit more better than a mark of 132. But the only thing that proper pushed me towards Nurse Susan as well, that she gets £6 off Win to the Lightning. So whether she could improve for back over hurdles, I think she's got a big chance. So I'll go for Nurse Susan as my main selection. What about you then, Joe? And then we'll get to the comments.
Well, I've landed on the 2, the same as you. I'm going to mention the Skelton horse first. Not once, but twice was in behind Love Envoy. The first time at Lingfield, 2.5 lengths behind. For me, that was the more impressive one. Was held up in behind and closed nicely. Obviously, Cheltenham carried on that form. And like you say, chasing just didn't seem to be the game for her. Back over hurdles, graded form over hurdles. I know it was a long time ago, but it's very, very lightly raced. We all know the Skeltons are very good in handicaps when they want to win. And this could be one. However, I'm going to have the main choice and the main bet on Win to the Lightning. I just feel this horse, and with Garrett, oh, yes.
The lightning strikes, Win to the Lightning. We love Green Old Guerrero.
Even with, and I know the yard say it as well, they don't burn out horses. They're often progressive as they go throughout the career. You probably won't see it as much now because they're getting classier horses, but they never used to win many, bumpers or national flat races. They were more chasing yard really. But I feel like she's just improving massively. Started off at 110 in February last season. 120 now. This was on soft ground, first time on soft ground on first reappearance. Won by 9 lengths. It was in similar fashion as White Rhino to me. A canter really. And I feel like she's untapped. She's got a lot of potential. I know, was it Josh or Ollie who mentioned her on our stable video?
I think it was Josh. Josh mentioned her.
Josh mentioned her and said, even though she won last season, some certain things just didn't go away and she'll be a lot better this season. Granted, and she should come on for a last run, I think could be hard to beat.
That's fair enough. Like you say, I mean, speaking to Henry Brook, I think he spoke highly of her as well. Obviously, he rode her, I believe, and they've said, I mean, I'll put Liv's comment up here, then we'll go to the other comments, but she's obviously in with the yard, knows a lot about the horses, and she says there, look, she's grown so much physically over the summer, which was mentioned before, that she's obviously improved massively, and the ground shouldn't be an issue. So these horses that are improving all the time, it's just you don't know how much is left in the tank, and she could still have a lot left in the tank. Lee T has put up Nurse Susan. Nice pick there, Lee.
Racing Gav.
Jack's the same. He's put Skelton's take this. Nurse Susan was a big fancy for me for the Mare's Chase. Fortunately, didn't work out. Got injured, took back hurdling. Yes, great horse. And then potentially, Jack, she could well be. I mean, Rich even picked up. Didn't you pick a Skelton horse for the Mare's Chase and all, Rich? And that got 5 horses in about 10 seconds. Remember that? So it happens, don't worry. It happens to the best of us.
It does, yeah.
So at least yours might have lasted a little bit longer, Jack. And then Gav's put up a comment up here. Let's read this out. Proper race, this. You can make a case for a few. As Joe said, Cheltenham is always competitive. I do think I Love the Nightlife is overlooked, though. Shouldn't be 16-1 outside, especially if soft. As big as 20-1 available. That is quite big. Like you say there, that's definitely the key to this. You could make a case for a lot of them. May well have needed that comeback run when flopped, and I don't think the ground was soft enough for her. Well, like I say, we'll see how the ground comes up. I know Joe mentioned it's maybe drying up a little bit, so
I know it looks
just
dry
stay soft.
now.
If it does stay soft though, if we get any sort of rain, it'd be should be a player. Like I say, it's such an open race. Can't beat these open handicaps.
They'll water it at Cheltenham, won't they?
Oh yeah, to be fair, they'll stick at the monsoon, it won't they? I'll put Liv's comment up, then we'll move over to Doncaster. But win all the way for me, but obviously partially biased. I wonder why, because she's obviously part of the year, but she'll certainly give her a race, give it her all. She's so honest and such a tough girl. She certainly is. And that Weatherby run was impressive, and fingers crossed she runs well. But I'm on Nurse Susan. Come on, Nurse Susan. We'll leave it at that. So brilliant. Love that. Good race. Right, lads, we're going to move over then to a couple of races at Doncaster, and then we'll just quickly talk about a couple of other horses who we're going to be running, and then we'll finish on our naps / charity bet segment. So the 205 at Doncaster back on Saturday is another limited handicap chase. Novices limited handicap chase. Serendipity is in his favourite. I believe you tipped him up last time, Rich, on the pod. That was a good winner there. Mr. Who, Find the Time, Cruise Control, horse I've backed before, and Bigger the Rest. Go on then, Rich. Are you diving in again on Serendipity? Are you going on something else?
No, that's the one I think I'm going to land on. Darrell was on him last time out at Weatherby of 1 mile 7. Steps have been tripped 2 miles 3. Has won over the distance before last season, so that wouldn't really worry me. I think he'll go in again. He's one for me.
Yeah, obviously Daryl Jacob was on that day that he won, and don't forget, if you go back, and I believe it was week 4 of the Cheltenham Anti-Post show, he was on the show, another big guest, so that's a good one to watch. Joe, are you diving in on the favourite, or have you managed to find something?
No, I mean, this for me, it's not a betting race, this one, but I one that does strike my eye sort of is Mr. Who. Sort of prefers the good ground anyway at Doncaster. It is good to soft at the minute. And one thing I would say is very, very lightly raced. Only had 3 runs under rules. First time out at Fontwell was second, and then improved and went in at Lingfield. First run out this season was at Lingfield, getting beat by Oxygen by Charlie Deutsch and Venetia Williams. And Mr. Who was given just under a stone away there. A lot of weight to come from a pretty long layoff. So I think this horse again has probably got untapped potential. Rated 117, could probably be higher. Toby Laws is a very small trainer, but Tom Cannon, a pretty well-known jockey, a good booking. So yeah, one I probably wouldn't be backing at 7-2. I'd want an each way price, but one wouldn't surprise me, if he went in.
Yeah, I think it's a tight race. The one I've gone for, the one I'm chancing really, and again, it's an each way price. I mean, it's 8-1. It's the Harry Fry horse, Deeper Blue. Sort of looked through his sort of form, and I thought this one could be one of them that if you just chance him off this at a big price, it's not too bad. So I'm going to go with him. He's had a couple of big layoffs lately, but he won a couple of races pretty easily at the end of the 2021 season, and then he obviously had the summer off, and he come back and made his chasing debut at the start of last season. If that makes sense. And it was a pretty hot race. Thunder Rock won it that day. It was obviously now rated 146, and you all think, or some of you think he's going to win on Saturday as well. So that form's pretty good. Brief times in there. He's rated quite high, and sort of everything in that race is rated in the sort of 130s, or sort of the high 130s, and he's in here off 132. He had a full 360 days off, and then he's returned at Plumpton and run a really good race for second. And I just think the break was probably what just did him. He travelled in it pretty well. He jumped pretty well. He's ridden quite patiently, and I think probably just given a little bit too much to do as well, to be fair. He was quite far back and just didn't get to the winner, who was obviously race fit and already had a run. I just thought it was a pleasing return. He's been nudged up £2 for it, but I just think he's one of them where he obviously had a lot of potential back in the day, and has then had a long layoff and had a couple of issues, but he's come back now. I think as long as he don't bounce, I think he could be one that could be under the radar slightly. So I'm going to put him up deeper blue for Harry Fry at about 8-1. Be my selection in this. I think it's a very tight handicap. Lovely. Right then, so the last race we're going to do on Doncaster, then I've got a couple of little notes here that we'll talk about, and then we'll finish on the naps, lads. And that's us done. But we're going to go to the what was it? The Doncaster 240. Another lovely handicap hurdle, and you've got in here the banker of next year's Cheltenham Festival, Langadan, according to Skelton the other week. No, seriously, the favourite Gin Coco, Clear White Light, Rare Edition, Tommy's Oscar, last year's winner of the race. Matchless, Sorry Glory at 10-1, and Bigger the Rest. Well then, Joe, I'm assuming you're on Langadan?
No. I quite like Tommy's Oscar. Eye catching anyway, coming back over hurdles, but the top three in the market all have claimers on. Danny McMenamin stays on Tommy's Oscar. I just feel like last time out was sort of undone by, Aintree. There was some fences taken out down the back, and I feel like this horse is a very, very good jumper, and was going very, very well when passing the third and the second that were omitted, I believe, from home, and then just sort of wilted out, went from, coming swinging to, giving the horse some and getting nothing. I just feel like this is probably the classy horse in the race anyway. And with Danny McMenamin on as well, I think this horse could be better, a lot better than these in here anyway, and class could come to the fore.
I like it, mate. I like good explanation there. Go on then, Rich. I mean, obviously it's another tight handicap, another tough one to dissect and just take some looking through, but I'm interested to know your thoughts on it, mate.
Yeah, very difficult. I mean, you might as well lay Langadan because he's got one target, and that's at Cheltenham. So that handicap mark is going to be dropping at a rate of knots until then. So we'll leave that one though. I mean, Tommy's Oscar's the interesting one, carrying top weight. He won a grade 2 at 7, excuse me, over hurdles, rated 156. So again, will the class get him through this at 2 miles? I think it's easy to carry a top weight over 2 miles than it is over the longer distances. So he's one that I potentially look at. I do like Gin Coco as well, winner last time out at Ascot over 1 mile 7. Beat Favior, is it? From the Skelton?
Yeah, Favois.
Who won the Cheltenham Festival, the county hurdle. Gin Coco was 15th in that, but Pembroke was back in 17th. And he's come out and won last week. So, yeah, I think Gin Coco potentially might go in again. I think he's quite well handicapped currently. So he's maybe the one I'd probably fancy.
Yeah, I mean, when I sort of look for the race, I mean, you've got Gin Coco at the top there, and you've got Clear White Light, who Henry Brook rode last time. And I was looking at him and I thought he won quite well last time, but on paper he did. But if you go back and watch the race, obviously he looked quite a difficult ride. He was ridden quite early on, and Henry had to work pretty much near enough the whole race. And there were quite a lot of hurdles dolled off. The three in the straight were all dolled off. So him coming from the flat, I just think that paid dividends for him. And even though he's got a claimer on this time, so he technically runs off, I think it's like £1 lower. I just think, obviously, if they don't have any hurt, he's got to have to do a lot more jumping. And a few of the jumps he did have were a little bit snatchy. So I'd probably stay clear of Clear White like me personally, even though, because now obviously Henry's not on now, it's Dylan Johnson. Gin Coco's obviously the other one I'm not too sure. I was quite happy to try and take on the top of the market with a couple in a bit of a bigger price. So I've gone with two that I couldn't really split, both at decent-ish prices, but I'm going to put up a horse called Glorious Zoff, who's going to be one of my each ways. And is the two are it's Glorious Zoff and Too Friendly. I was looking down the bottom end and I thought these two look like they could have a good chance, and the form ties in with each other. Glorious Zoff was a couple of lengths off him, getting about £1, where this time on Saturday he's getting £10. Now his last run was pretty decent too. He ran behind a horse. He wasn't beaten far by a horse called Robard and Hansard. So that's obviously decent form. They're both 140 plus horses. The race before that at Cheltenham, he was unlucky. He was running an okay race and he unseated simply because at the top of the hill they sort of come down and he clipped one of the barriers, which I believe in the report knocked his saddle off, and then the next hurdle, unluckily for the jockey, which was, I've got it written here somewhere, but I can't remember. But it chucked him off basically. So I just think he's got a chance. He's in here off 10 stone 2, and obviously gets £10 off Too Friendly. So I just think between them two, I wanted to back them, and obviously Too Friendly is the other one. He's won a couple of handicap hurdles, one on good ground, one on soft ground, and he was only 2 lengths behind Robard. So the form kind of ties in. He's obviously rated quite highly now. And First Street was behind him. He was rated 147 that day. So obviously, he pulled up at Cheltenham last time in the Great Wood, but I just think he maybe found it a bit too much soft ground at Cheltenham, and he's been dropped a couple of pounds for that. Now he's back on better ground. James Bowen takes over the ride. So I just think those two kind of time with each other, and you're getting sort of 18-1 for both of them. So I'm going to chance them two as small each ways in that pretty tough handicap. And that's me, yeah.
Good stuff.
Lovely. Right, so what we'll do now then, that's pretty much it for the racing preview. So what I'll do is we're just going to circle back. I've got a couple of points here. I know Jack's just put a comment up, so I'll tie it in with that. So obviously we're going to talk quickly about the cross-country race, where we've obviously got, I'll put his comment up. Someone just read this comment while I get it up on the thing.
What do you think on the cross-country? Should they make it a handicap? Personally, I love the former Grade 1 winners are going this route.
That is a tough question. I don't think they should. I think they should just leave it alone. I think the one at Cheltenham, I don't know. What do you lads think to that? Do you think the festival cross-country should be a handicap? Obviously, the handicap one is at the November meeting. That's a handicap. And then this one's obviously, I think, is a handicap. And then it comes to the festival, they're all off levels. Do you think it's fair?
I don't know. For me, though, the one thing I would say, I know if it wasn't a handicap, you wouldn't get half the horses turning up, would you? Like Jack said there, the Grade 1, or the former Grade 1 winners, you get none of them turning up, and it'd sort of be a disappointing graded race of the day. In fact, you'd probably get a lot of the yards targeting the races as their Gold Cup, if you like. And they probably don't deserve to have the Grade 1 stature around the horse. I think I like the handicaps in terms of some horses are just there for the trot round, granted, but you're getting to see some classy horses either way.
Yeah, obviously we had George Gorman, if you remember, he spoke about it a little bit and just sort of said, look, back in the day, nobody was bothered about the cross-country, and that was like a spare ride for any sort of jockey. But nowadays, obviously, Gordon Elliott's kind of took it upon himself to throw some of his best horses in there, or past best horses, and start winning it. So it depends what sort of race you want it to be, I suppose. Do you want to see older graded horses dropping into it and keep it as it is, or do you want to make it a handicap and make it tougher for him and maybe give the other people a chance? I'm not so sure, but what are your thoughts, Rich?
It's one of the races I quite like at Cheltenham. If you go back, it's given up some cracking races. We had Delta Work versus Galvin last year. Previously, we had Tiger Roll versus Delta Work. Tiger Roll's won it numerous times, then gone on to win the Grand National. I think it's a great race. I wouldn't give it as a handicap. I'm not really bothered about the handicap. I like to see graded horses run against each other, and you want to see the best horses. And I think if it was a handicap, would it take the shine off it? I think it's a good race on Friday. You got Galvin, Geskiel, Minella Lindo. Former Gold Cup winners taking a race in this. I think it's great. If it was a handicap, would we have had the Tiger Roll, Delta Work sort sort of races with
Can I
it.
just clarify? Is he on about the Cheltenham or these races? I'm sure he's on about these
He's on
races.
about the festival. He's on about the cross country at the festival. This one, obviously, at the weekend is a handicap. The handicap's leading up to the festival. Then at the festival, they're off levels. I mean, I would agree with you there. I mean, I think they should keep it as it is. I don't mind seeing sort of Gold Cup horses who obviously don't really have a chance in the Gold Cup dropping into something like a cross country. It's great seeing them enjoying themselves and jumping over those banks. And like, well, what Lee's just put here, cross country race is almost like a veterans race these days. All from Grade 1 legends dropping into it. And to be honest, I love seeing. I mean, I agree with that completely, Lee. That's kind of what I would say. I think these older horses dropping into it, not an issue whatsoever, and everything else just take your chance. But yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Jack's put. 100% agree with you, lads. Seems to be a much better race since owners have started sending their big horses. I mean, obviously, we'll have a quick chat about the one at the weekend just because we might as well. I mean, Late Night Pass is obviously the favourite. He come second last time. Bumped into one there. Galvin Geskeel, obviously a horse we really like. Won the Aintree race. Manila Indo. Do you think Geskeel wins this? I mean, obviously, we maybe think the trips maybe the issue. There's been a schooling video where he obviously looks like he enjoys it, but would the trip just be an issue, do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think a lot of these are thorough stays. Galvin probably catches my eye. He travelled well for a lot of the way and then just completely emptied out. And he normally runs well fresh. Gordon Elliott brings him back over.
Liv says Geskeel will stay all day. That's it then, he wins.
I hope so. I just think, I don't know. I feel like Elliott, I mean, I can't get away from the Elliott runner. I mean, he finished 8th Galvin first time out. He's obviously a very, very classy animal. And he looked, like I say, to be travelling well, just petered out. But I just think he's sending him back over here. Is it just as a schooling thing? I don't know. Was he happy? I don't know. But I would probably side with Galvin. Liv sent me a video. He loves the banks. Castile form. Yeah, I mean, we seen the video, didn't we? With was it De Vivant or whatever?
De Vivant, yeah.
Yeah, De Vivant. To be fair, I thought De Vivant looked very well. I thought he was pinging everything. Terrified to watch him over those fences, though. Don't know how Rachel will cope.
I think, what's this? Here we go. Racing Gav's put, do you almost have a middle ground, make it a conditions race, so not levels, not a handicap, but say penalties for having won a grade 1, etc. Best horses should still win, but bring the field closer. That's probably not a bad idea, actually. So if they win a grade 1 in the lead up to it, they have to run with a penalty. So they would have to give weight away. I think that's probably not a bad idea, actually. Then you don't have like the real, like if they're winning a grade 1 leading up to it, they probably shouldn't be running off levels against horses that are anywhere near that level. So yeah, I probably agree with that as well, to be fair, Gav.
What did Lee say there? Ground surely will be against Galvin. I think you'd be surprised, you know. I think Cheltenham, we haven't had racing there for like a month now. I don't think the ground will be as bad as everyone thinks, to be honest. It drains very well. It's cloudy now. I don't think they're due much rain tomorrow.
But the hoses will be on. The hoses will be on.
It's been very windy and stuff like that. I mean, he won. He comes second in the cross-country chase on soft, 2 lengths behind Delta Works. So I can't really see the ground being an issue. Both at Cheltenham, both on soft ground, I can't really see that as being a problem.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as a final point, and then we'll move on. I'll see what Liv's put here. Just think Geskeel will thrive. He should love it, especially as a French horse, as you know. Gab would love it. Yeah, Gaboriot would also love it. I'd have to agree with that. I think it's one of them. Geskeel, to me, looks like the each way bet. He gets a lot of weight off the likes of Galvin. You know, I mean, he's off 10 stone 12, and you got Galvin off giving him nearly a stone. Minarindo's giving him over a stone. You know, Late Night Pass ran a good race last time. He'd probably be I'd have it between him and Geskeel, to be honest. I think the rest are not much good, but fingers crossed Geskeel wins it. Come on. We're not that bothered about the race, so hopefully Geskeel bolts up.
I wouldn't touch Galvin with a barge pole in this, personally.
Any reason?
I was there when he ran in it last time out. He wasn't fluent at all. He looked like he wasn't enjoying it one bit. And
supposed to run well fresh as well, isn't he, Galvin?
Supposedly, yeah. I mean, he was running off the same weight, I think, 11 stone 11 or 11 stone 10. He had a claimer on that day, and even Delta Work beat him.
No, he had Davy Russell on. Sorry, what am I about? I'm looking at the wrong race. All my point is he jumped pretty well in the cross country chase at Cheltenham against Delta Work. For me,
it was built up for that. He's come back this season, and what Rich is saying there. Obviously, the November meeting when Rich was there, he didn't jump very well at all. And I mean, to me, he's supposed to run well fresh. He's won well fresh.
He was off 11 stone 7, and I think that would be with the claimer. Rob James was taking £7 off him. He's got no claim on his back, and he wasn't fluent at all. I mean, he got well back that day, and he finished 8th. I wouldn't
be backing anybody like Galvin, Manila Indo, Delta Work, or any of them until the festival.
I wouldn't back anything in this race. I mean, if you go back, I just said Galvin caught my eye in the fact he finished 8th, and he's brought him back the next meeting. I said I don't know if it's a schooling thing or what, but it just seems strange that they've sent Keith Donoghue over to jump on him. And obviously he runs well fresh. He'd come for money, went off 10-30. So I don't know. I don't know. I think these are messy races, to be honest, especially if you're getting your money involved.
Gaskell's the one.
I'll go £2. I'll go £5 a win on Gaskell each way. Sorry, £5 each way on Gaskell. 5-1. That'll do me.
Is that your bet?
All right. That's not a bad bet, I don't think. Right then, lads. So we'll finish on anything else. I think there'll be a couple to mention, so I'll just let you guys mention it. But I'll come to you first, Rich. Have you got anything else you think's worth backing at the weekend? Let us know, mate.
Yeah, there's a few. So in the 12:40 race at Cheltenham on the Friday, you've got Grey Dawning. He's back out for the Skeletons. I thought he was quite impressive last time out at Haydock. I'm just trying to get the race up, see who's taking on. He's taking on
Krabilly. Krabilly looks a good horse. He was running really good race before he tipped up last time.
I'd have Krabilly in that race.
He's the danger, but he fell last time out. I mean, he was coming with a challenge, but I don't like backing him off a 4. I like to see him run again to make sure everything's all right. I mean, he's against Ginny's Destiny, who absolutely bolted up thanks to his 4 last time out. But I just think Grey Dawning looked quite impressive last time out. I mean, got little form ties to stay away fair. Did he finish 3rd or 4th to him? So that's quite interesting. 1:15, you've got Doddy the Great. I think is quite unexposed. Only raced a few times. The brakes kind of worry me, but he looks a horse that potentially could be quite special.
I think as long as I think he's probably a decent bet as long as he don't bounce obviously after that long layoff that previous time. But I think he looks quite strong as well. To be fair, I probably agree with you on that.
Yeah, and then obviously you mentioned Gaskell in the handicap, and then the last one on Saturday, 12:40. I think Mufasa runs. I think he's a good horse. We got beaten by Broadway Boy that time, but I think Broadway Boy wins on the Saturday later on in the card. So I think that could be a nice little form boost for Broadway Boy as well.
Sweet. I'll just flip this comment up before I come to you, Joe. But Craig's jumped in on the Rhino tomorrow. Looks like we're all on the Rhino. It'll be a couple of pounds, a couple of quid for me on the Rhino, definitely. Nice to see you, Craig. Hope you're enjoying some time, well-earned time with the family. Those videos you put up. If you haven't seen them, go over to Craig's Twitter. He put some good videos up, surprising his kids coming back after being away for a bit. So great content to see. And hope you're having a great time and a good Christmas. Go on then, Joe. Have you got anything else for the weekend before we finish on the charity bet naps?
Yeah, mate. I strongly fancy Krabilly, to be honest. I was there when Grey Dawning won at Haydock. Don't get me wrong, he was impressive, but Apple away over 2 mile 5 once further. Geard de Manil over 2 mile 5 once further. And then you're into Hardy Bloke for Brian Ellison and Skippy-on, who sort of didn't stand a chance. Krabilly, form from last season, finishing off at Sandown in the handicap, beat Barley, who come out and battered First Street in the 2-runner race. Had Icy on behind as well, who's sadly not with us, but the form stacks up. Ran in some competitive races and was about to give Ginny's Destiny a problem when tipping up. And whether he would have beat him or not, I don't know, but gets weight from all these. Grey Dawning, Trolane, Ginny's Destiny, Tritonic, and then Blue Hop and Krabilly are off level weights. I think getting weight off these, for me, I'm surprised he's as big as 72. I know he did tip up, so that's probably the reason why. But he travelled very strongly. And to be fair, apart from that fall, didn't really make too many mistakes. So probably one I would be on tomorrow.
Is his form, would you say, surely it's not as strong as beating third to Apples away, though, would you say? Apples away, Stay Away Faye.
Yes, but I mean, if you look at Stay Away Faye, it was the first time out against Geldings on soft ground, but the ground was pretty good that day I was there. It dried out a lot, and over 2 mile 5. I know John said on the podcast a couple of weeks before, Apple Away was previously ready for a run and had 2 meetings cancelled. So you look, and they probably just wanted to get her in. We had Henry on the race after, and they said they were buzzing with the run, albeit 14 lengths behind. And then Gare de Menil was 9 lengths behind, was impressive, but getting £11 off Gare de Menil, 2 mile 5, and winning by 9 lengths. Don't get me wrong, it was impressive and visually, but I just think going from getting £9 off Gare de Menil to giving Krabilly, what's that, £8? It's a tough ask.
Yeah, I mean, I'll sort of chime in on that race. I think with Grey Dawning, obviously the run behind Stay Away Faye is probably the better form, simply because Galliard de Menil at the Haydock just looked like he was obviously there for a jog round. Apple Away probably looked the same, not her trip at all. She's obviously done a lot better up to 3 miles.
You say not a trip, but she's won the other day, but that was only over a furlong further than the Grey Dawning race.
100%, but for me, they weren't prepped for that race. Grey Dawning had already had a prep run on the race. It's a tough ass first time out. Like I say, the ground was pretty quick. It's a pretty sharp track. Horses won from the front that day. Gare de Menil obviously wants the handicap mark down and wants further. Apple Away, fair enough, but first time out over Geldings, who've already had a run. I just think, don't get me wrong, very, very good and very impressive, but I just think the weight swing from getting weight from horses who want further, like Gare de Menil, to then giving Krabilly weight, it's a tough ask.
All I'll say is, if you're backing Grey Dawning based on beating Stay Away Faye over 2 mile 5 or whatever it was,
Apple Away.
Good luck to you. I mean, obviously, you're obviously going against each other, so I'm assuming there's a pint on it. So yeah. I'll be looking forward to see which one of you two wins that little battle. John put a quick comment in there before I move on to the naps. John's put, Grey Dawning is a very good horse, 2 mile 6 in heavy, which she has never ran at. It suited her. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, Grey Dawning, one for Grey Dawning, one for Krabilly. I think I'll just stay on the fence with that race. I think it's a tough one to call. Probably one I'll leave myself, but that's it. So what we're going to do next is then we're going to do the naps and next best. But what I'll do is, before I do that, is I'll speak a bit about the next Cheltenham show, the Cheltenham Festival Anti-Post Countdown show, which comes again on Monday night, a little bit later than usual. We have another guest coming on, another jockey, a very good jockey called Tom Bellamy will be coming on. Obviously rode Broadway boy to win that race last time out. He's obviously won some very good races at a very high level. He's a very, very good jockey, and he's happy to give us an hour or so of his time, similar to the rest, and give us some more insight. So we're looking forward to that on Monday night, and we'll be giving our week 9 picks, and that'll be the last Cheltenham Anti-Post show before we break up for Christmas. And obviously we have the Christmas special next Thursday, of which Jackie Boy, who's in the chat, has just put, if Grey Dawning is beat, I'll retire. So we might not be having Jack on the show next week then, because that very well happen. We'll put that, and we'll save that.
I think he's safe. Don't worry about it.
So we'll keep that saved for you next week, mate. And if Grey Dawning gets beat, the mince pies are on you, pal. Right then, so we've obviously changed the last little bit. We used to do naps and next best, but instead we're going to do our naps, and we're going to do a little bit of a charity bet. We've each got a charity that we like to support and raise a little bit of awareness for. Mine's Hull for Heroes. They do a lot of good work for homeless veterans and veterans in need and things like that. So I've managed to raise a bit of money for them, and hopefully we'll get a couple of winners. Do you guys want to quickly mention yours again, and then we'll get on to the selections?
I need to tag mine on Twitter. It's a mental health charity, local around the northeast and stuff. They just do certain helplines up and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty important, especially in this day and age. Anyway,
That's fantastic, mate. What about you then, Rich? Who is it you're doing it for?
Mine's Macmillan. They do a lot of good work. I think everybody, if they're not affected by it, knows somebody that has been affected by cancer. So I think that's a good worthy cause.
No, it's a really good one, that one, mate. I think that's really good. So what I think we'll do is we could put up a nap each, and then we could put up the charity bet each. Because I know it could be a single, could be a double, could be anything you want. We'd put a sort of £10 on each, and we see if we can win some money for these charities. So I'll come to you, Joe. Who's your nap, and sort of what's your charity bet selection?
My nap is Krabilly, but my £10 bet for charity, I feel like you've got to have the banker, the one that cannot be beaten. Tomorrow, 3:05, White Rhino bolts up.
It's 3:35, but I think you're right there.
No, I'd written it right, and I've written in the rubby out pens.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, and I was thinking, oh no, and I'm trying to. I've got my phone here, and it wouldn't load.
Love it. Well, fingers crossed, White Rhino bolts up. My nap for the weekend is going to be Nurse Susan in that mare's hurdle. I think she's got a right chance. And I'm going to have a look. I'm going to be a little bit bold, me, with this £10. Obviously, I want to try and win some decent money. And obviously, we're going to donate some money at the end of the season anyway, whatever, and things like that. And so that should be good. But I'm going to go for a treble, lads. What? A weekend treble. And I think this wins this treble. It does. So obviously, I've got Nurse Susan in there at 6-1 best price. I've put it in the odds checker, and it's best price William Hill. So we'll stick a little bit on this. But I'm going to have Nurse Susan. I'm going to have Shanna Bob in the Albert Bartlett Novice Hurdle. And the third one to make up the treble is obviously White Rhino tomorrow. I think he's going to absolutely steam home. And I think with William Hill, you're getting about 67-1. So it'll be a decent pot for the charity. Well, if that comes in. So I'll get that stuck on tonight. We'll obviously get them posted up over the weekend. But yeah, that's going to be my charity bet, and my nap's Nurse Susan. So fingers crossed. Go on then, Rich, take it away.
My nap is White Rhino. Next best is Grey Dawning. And my charity bet is going to be Broadway Boy.
Good stuff.
Are you going for just the single on Broadway Boy?
Just the single. I think he's good enough. I think he's going to be entered for the Browns. I think he's going to challenge for the Brown advisory. And if he's going to do that, he's got to win at the weekend. So yeah, I'm fairly confident of that.
Love it. I think it's brilliant. I'll just put a couple of these comments up before we finish. Liv's put in, she's going to join in and do the charity bet. So that's going to be, make sure you stick that £10 on the Geskiel White Rhino double. Brilliant. Fingers crossed them two win. You can get that money donated. Jack says he's going to be doing the show from his private jet. I'll be wondering how much putting on Grey Dawning if you're going to end up with a private jet, Jack, off the back of that. Mince pies for Joe next week while me and Rich are eating 24k gold steak. Love it. And then 71 treble. Yeah, I think the treble does pay a decent whack. So fingers crossed that'll be an unbelievable start. So obviously last week we had, I think all three lost last week, didn't the lads? Is that correct?
Sadly, ICO.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, yeah, sad to see.
So
I think mine placed, but it wasn't a placed price. So
yeah, I punted Esther. She come third, or he come third, but never mind. Racing Gav's just jumped on. I'll do a charity bet for you lads as well. He's going to do Broadway Boy for me too. Bet place, brilliant. So if Broadway Boy wins, get that money donated to whatever charity you want. Like I say, it's just a little bit of fun to help raise some awareness and some money for some.
Only one thing I am going to say, and I'll have to put it on Twitter. I'm not sure if I'll be out of work tomorrow in time to get the Rhino bet on, so I'm going to have to go there tonight, and it's 11-4 now, so obviously I'll have to take the price. I can see White Rhino going off 1-2 anyway, though, when everyone realises.
Yeah, says we might as well donate the £45 now. Fingers crossed we get some good money for some charity.
Come on.
So yeah, that's us boys. The only other thing I will mention is obviously me and Joe are going on the charity quiz that the lads are doing on Twitter. So make sure you tune in for that next Friday. Racing Lee's sorted all that out, so that's going to be a bit of fun. Obviously, we didn't want Rick in the team, so he's missed out. But he don't know anything about Christmas anyway, so that should be quite fun to do. But yeah, a lot of stuff in the pipeline. Big festival. The festive period's obviously class. So the Christmas specials next Thursday. It'll be us three and Jack Racing Interest. So make sure you give him a follow, and we'll look forward to the show. That's it, boys. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate the likes and subscribes and the comments and the chats. It's brilliant. It's what we do it for. We're enjoying it. We're enjoying chatting to the jockeys and getting all the stuff done and previewing the racing. So we're going to carry on doing it. And if you enjoy it, great. And if you don't, well, you should. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Good luck.
Yeah,
Rhino.
White Rhino.
White Rhino.